up, guys? Thanks for tuning in Twisted Youngins, and we're right back at you with another episode. And we are the most unorthodox show on the globe. And I'm one of your hosts, Myra B. King.
And this is Desi Dez.
And it's your boy Mojo in the building with another special guest today. Sir, let the people know who you are.
Emory Davis, my Mark 61 Cattle Company. I produce grass-fed beef, grass-finished beef, and other protein products.
Grass-fed beef.
So that means your beef they're pretty healthy, right?
Yes, and like I tell people, I'm a grass farmer that happens to have cows because the health of the cow really comes from the conditions of your grass. And going back and getting my second Bachelor of Science degree, my first degree was in health. And so with what I did was I kind of figured out how to do medical billing, and through medical billing, the diagnosis codes is what showed us why we're unhealthy, is what we eat. And so I kind of looked at that, thought I was going to go back to school and see how I can make it feasible to eat healthy, and so I took up ag business, ag econ at Prairie View, where I got my first health degree in. And I found out about in agriculture, you are a price taker and not a price setter because it's a commodity, and the commodity goes by the market. And as you know, the beef market is controlled by 4 companies. And so I kind of came upon this grass-fed beef because my grandfather had land at the homestead where I am now for this weekend, a little excursion. And I could use that as a resource in order to start growing the cows. It's a lower maintenance, grass fed is a healthier alternative because if you have healthy grass, then you're producing healthy meat.
Wow. So, okay. So how did you, so you let us know, like you said, that you realized that what people eat was making them unhealthy. So when did you dive into, livestock? How did you get your first livestock?
I bought them. I was dealing, like, when I went back to school, you make your connections, your relationships. And one of the guys that I deal with, Nick, he's a ag teacher at a high school in Houston. And so he had a connection.
I don't mean to pause you, but you said when you say ag, you mean agriculture, correct?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Agriculture.
Okay, just letting the audience know.
So
okay,
he's an agriculture teacher at a high school in Houston. And he had a connection on a guy who had a breed that I wanted. And the reason I wanted that breed is because I was an absentee farmer, meaning I was using my grandfather's land, but I was staying in Houston. And then, so I wanted a breed that I wouldn't have birth issues and that would be an efficient grazer. So that's kind of what got me into it. And I got that through going back, doing the ag business classes. One of my professors, just talked about the economics of agriculture. And that's kind of what pushed me into this.
So how many did you buy? How many did you buy? Did you buy one?
No, I started out actually with 3 heifers, which were young cows that haven't had a child, haven't given birth yet. Okay. And so I wanted to raise them up and ensure that I had my foundation stock was actually grass and forage fed based. So that was my first thing. And then I went into looking for a breed that I could breed with them that would make it, just kind of enhance the characteristics that I'm looking for in order to make, my business profitable. And that's by making a body carcass weight high enough to make a good profit margin. And so in agriculture, you have to understand how to capture that part of the supply chain, and that's why those 4 big companies can control so much of our meat industry. And what they're giving you is pretty much, they're giving you a product that they raise in which the practices they feel is best. And by doing that, they're trying to produce a mass amount. So they have to speed up what is naturally done through nature. A cow is born to gain weight to produce meat. But if I want to reach the masses, I have to be able to do it at a faster rate and a larger quantity, volume. So what are my business options in order to make this profitable? So they wanted to grow big and control large portions of the market to where somebody like me would go in. I just want to control a regional portion because that's who I can provide a prime healthy product to. And as I grow and expand, I need to partner up with other people that are doing this and get them interested in doing this to where, hey, I can say, hey, this is a practice that we can provide meat in which people are bad talking. You know, I have a saying, I service all secondhand vegans. And so it's not something I can do by myself. And I've started setting up partnership with other people that do produce different livestocks. We have the Southwest Black Ranchers, which are in Arizona. They did a tour and came through, and they provide goats. And it's a family that moved off the grid, and they're raising their kids to, be able to live and survive off the land. And one way is to sell your livestock for food consumption.
Mm.
Yeah.
So do you have so on your land now, do you say you have cows and goats, or just cows only?
I'm a beef person. So I mean, it's been a progression. You know, it hasn't happened like overnight.
Yeah.
It's taken a while, and so through the time that I've gone through, grown from those first three, I've gotten my numbers up, and my numbers have drooped because of a learning curve. First of all, me going through this, I had secondhand experience through my grandfather. He did this, but then he sent all his kids to college, and we used it as a vacation home. So I had to kind of relearn what was instilled in me as a kid. And so I looked at that and going through and lost, learned, and everything. And I've partnered with other people to provide. Like right now, I'm working with a gentleman that has a farm close to Prairie View. I've moved my stock to Prairie View now because I stayed in the suburbs of Houston. I went to Prairie View, which is altogether, I can go from Prairie View to Houston in like 45 minutes. And I stay in the middle of that. That's where my house is. And so me moving the herd there made a more economical decision. I've partnered with a guy that has a farm, Hibiscus Hill. He's one of the gentlemen that started farmers markets in the Houston area. So it makes it possible for me to grow the area and the people that I can service. Because by myself, I'm trying to make every farmer's market. Then I got to rotate weekends. Sometimes when I become a staple, people kind of get upset if I have to go other places. So I'm trying to see how I can, still grow my company, service the areas that I need to service, but still be able to provide a quality product. And that's that grass-fed and grass-finished beef.
How was it growing up?
Well, growing up, okay, so people ask me where I'm from, and I say I'm from 45. If you understand Texas, 45 goes from Galveston all the way up north through Dallas. I say I'm from 45 because when I was, my mom had me while she was finishing up at Prairie View, came Christmas break, had me, went back, finished up school. And so I stayed with my grandparents, which was here. And so that's where I kind of got my foundation in agriculture. My grandfather bought me a cow when I was young, and that cow, I would sell her calf and do my school clothes. So I always had the knowledge of agriculture, economics, and how it worked. But I moved to Houston in the suburbs to where I was in the suburbs when the suburbs just got started. So I came from the country, never really had that hood experience, and went to the suburbs to where I was an oddity. So much of an oddity to say that when I left the suburbs of Houston, I moved to South Dallas, which was a culture shock to me because I never knew there was so many of us, and I was put in tag classes. But in Katy, outside of Houston, I was a regular student. So now I've gone to an inner city school, which I love the experience. It took me to an inner city high school where I went to Africa in high school. I was the first group, everybody else was going to other parts of Europe, and our school took the first group of African-American students to Africa. Went to Dakar, Senegal, the Gambia, Gorée Island, and all that. And even as I was out there, I was looking at how they raise goats and doing things like that because that's their main protein product. And so, but I was removed. I moved to South Dallas. I was in the hood. I lived that experience. Kind of had that experience, I'll say. And but I went to college. I went to Prairie View, played football. So that's kind of where the My Mark 61 comes from. If you look at that, when a lot of people got into agriculture, they couldn't read or write. And so they would put their mark. And then 61 was my college football number. And so then I lived the city life. And so that's how my youth was.
Okay. Now, when you acquire these calves, like cattle and everything like that, my question, I guess, is at what weight do you hold them till you sell them? Like, do you wait till they're about 800-900 pounds, or do you even let them go to some? I know some people, they get them in, they want them at 1,000 if they're gonna, slaughter them or something like that, what is the perfect weight that you would say, you know, at this weight, I know I can get, you know, a good price per pound on this cow?
So first, I have a premium product. So what they do in the commercial industry doesn't, my economics isn't the same. My perfect weight would be around 1,200 pounds.
Okay.
And I say that because 1,200 pounds, you have to understand when you get a cow, 1,200 pounds on hoof, which means it's still alive, you get 55 to 62% of that as hanging weight. Hanging weight is after you dress down a cow, you harvest the cow, you dress it down. That means you remove the things that you can't eat. And then you put it on a hook and you weigh it again. So now that 1,200 pound cow, let's say it's 550 to 600 pounds. So now what we do next is we age the beef. You know, that's what kind of gives it a better taste. 7 to 10 days, I put it in a dry age freezer, and it gets that metallic taste out of it that you get when you go to the grocery store. So this gives you a heartier, meatier taste. And so that's the 7 to 10 days. Steakhouses do it for longer. And so that would be my perfect weight, because of that 500 pound will now yield, if I sell a half a cow, 200 to 225, because you got to remember, you're still going to lose bone when you're doing ground meat. And it depends on the cuts that a person wants, because I do a half or a quarter cow. Now, if I'm doing a la carte, which I'm selling by the piece, I want most of the premium cuts, which are kind of gravy, but you got to understand, you set your price point by how much you're going to sell your ground meat for, because that's your least expensive portion. And at that number, if you sell everything as that, are you able to make a profit? And so just depending on where you are, then that's how you adjust your numbers of weight of the cow, the cuts that you get, and how you produce it. So it's not really a simple question, but that's kind of the answer.
Okay. So you do a little bit of both. Do you sell them alive, and you also can sell different, you can dress it up and sell parts of the cow?
So yeah, you're trying to get a percentage of my business. I really haven't gotten into selling them alive yet, but what I do is,
okay. So that you sell parts of the cow, right?
You're trying to get a percentage, give me marketing points, and gonna ask me for money later. I might start doing that.
Listen, I want to make an order from you, so I'm trying to figure out if I can place an order for steaks, or shelves are empty. I'm trying to see if I can place.
Okay, so now, where are you all located? Truthfully,
Midwest. We're in the Midwest.
Okay, so you have to give me a little time. I hate I can't, or you can come down here and buy it.
We'll come down there to you. We're going to come down there to you and rack up and load up. Can we do that?
Okay, yeah, because right now I'm in a state inspected. It's under a state inspection, so I can't sell across state lines.
Okay.
That'd be bootleg, and I don't want to do no bootleg.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. No, don't worry. We're going to come to you, and to get all we need. So okay, so we got that out the way. Okay, so I do have one. So how can you tell if like meat is like cancerous, and what can that do to our body? Because I'm sure at one point,
talk about pork too.
Yeah, I'm sure all of us have eaten like some cancerous meat, or some meat that had some type of disease, like
abscess.
What kind of effect can that have on our body? Does it just fight it off, or does over time
So okay, you hear about the breakout. First and foremost, I want to say, mostly in a more totality part, the regulators try to stop that from happening, because they do have inspectors in there. But see, you got to understand, the higher the volume, it's always human. So the higher the volume, the higher the mistake may get by. And those are things that your body is going to mutate in order to defend yourself. And so, yes, our body composition is changing. And some of those changes can be unhealthy to us, because our body works in a full totality system. And when you add other things that aren't really naturally supposed to be there, your body is strong enough to adjust. But when it adjusts, it's going to affect something else. It's like, when you go, as humans, there's sometimes we have to have surgeries. And depending on the region of the body that we have to take away from, the rest of the body has to make up for it. So when you add a foreign chemical or something that happens, that animal has, and they say, oh, it's trace, it's not going to happen. You hear that a lot. But how much of that trace do I have to get in order for it to make an effect on me? And you never know when you eat. It's when they're trying to produce a lot of cows in a rapid rate, you never know what step is missed. So to answer your question, yes, we can fight it off until it becomes a pandemic, epidemic type thing, to where they had the mad cow disease and they control that. So right now, how that affects me now, if I have a cow that's over 36 months old and they age the cows, I can't sell T-bones because the T-bone steak includes part of that spinal column, and that's where the mad cow disease travels. And so they don't want you to be able to transition that over into your consumers. So in a plant that follows the regulations, any cow that they age as 36 or close to, you have to understand they may not give you your T-bones. If it's something that they say, okay, we think it's almost 3 years old, but we're not sure, they should caution on the side of you missing out on that meat. And then you can get a New York strip. But I'm a Texas boy, so T-bone is what it is.
Mm. And some people don't care. They'll just still give you the T-bone if they really don't care.
Right. And that's where you have to look, because they're looking for that dollar. You know what I'm saying? That's what you got to understand. Through all through all of this, it's the same basic rules to what you learned when you was in high school. It's about the dollar. Some people gonna try to do whatever they have to do to get that dollar. They gonna cut on it. They gonna tell you they gonna step on it. They gonna add on it. Ground meat. The reason for ground meat. So how my ground meat goes, and this is also to show you how disease can be entered in to, whereas in a product like mine, it cannot. My ground meat is leftover cuts that don't make the specs that you want as a customer. Like if I do a la carte, my T-bones are usually like a 1/4 inch thick. So I cut as many of those I get in a 1/4 inch thick. Whatever doesn't make the cut becomes ground meat. Or if I get enough numbers that I feel that's enough cuts, the rest becomes ground meat. The rest of those ribeyes that don't make specification become ground meat. So I'm able to give you a premium product to where you don't have to worry about mass producing, where they take part of the hoof meat, they scrape off whatever. It might have bone fragments in it. And so once again, it goes to mass producing, giving you a product that may not be as healthy for you.
Now, do you eat pork?
I do. Yeah, I'm a black dude from Texas. I got a pork belly in there. Like I say, we're on a hunting trip for wild hogs right now.
Okay.
So, but it's different. I thought wild hogs is different from
feral hogs. Yes. I mean, a lot of the population from the feral wild hogs came from when they changed regulations in raising the hogs. They let them out, and a pig can breed 3 months, 3 days, 3 weeks. So think about that, and they can have 6 to 12 piglets. And some of those are going to be sows, and which are going to get pregnant and produce again after 8 months. Not a whole year, they can produce in 8 months. So that's why the population grew up. So, but there is a difference, and it's because they're more of a natural base. You have to watch them because they take in pigs and hogs will eat anything. So, eating wild game is like you gambling. You got to make sure, because you can take it to a processor and they'll examine it and make sure you don't get those issues. But country, a lot of time we just cut it up and the smoke gonna kill it when we put it on the barbecue pit. So it's a difference, But
do you ever get hold of any elk?
I haven't. We do bison. I've had bison. Okay. I've had goat, sheep, lamb, and mainly beef. But we do pork. With the one of the farms at Hibiscus Hill, which I partnered up with, they have a heritage breed pig where they breed them and they produce the pork meat. It's free range, and we do feed there, but it's all soy free, corn, no GMOs, so we feed an organic feed. So it's an organic farm to where we practice with, chicken dung to add as fertilizer and stuff like that, to where we don't really add those nitrates that you need from fertilizer that they do in those feed mills. So it's an organic farm. So once again, trying to provide a better product to the customer.
And this is for the audience, and you're speaking on the pig, correct?
Yes.
So that's good, because pigs do eat. Some farmers let their pig eat anything, and it doesn't.
It's about the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Question. So with that feeding process that you give and everything like that, and all the other process that goes into effect, is it some like humane washing, basically, where you're making it, pretty much grass fed and organic type of situation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're taking an animal, and like a lot of the animals. So with my beef, I get weaned calves, which that's as close as possible as I can get to no grain, meaning I'm buying that calf when it's of age enough to eat grass and it does not need its mother's milk. We, the human being, is the only animal that consumes milk after adolescence.
Wow.
A cow gonna get off to the udder when it doesn't need it. In nature, that's how it works. But we eat cereal tonight while I'm watching TV. Just whenever, at any age. So milk isn't really something that we need. And that's how you can kind of tell. That's the first humane way I try to deal with my livestock, because I'm trying to take that initial stress away from that calf to where it doesn't produce that extra endorphins in its muscle, and which eventually does transition over into us. So now we have ADHD, we have attention deficit disorder, because that cow was stressed out. We done fed our kids enough this high consumer meat to where they done ate a whole bunch of stressed out cows, and now they stressed out just because they in the classroom and have to learn. I mean, my bad. Let me get out.
No. That's exactly what I was.
No. That's what we want to hear, because that's what's going on. So no, you can
especially
speak on
if the meat plays a big part in it.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. Asking you with the humane washing and everything, because obviously the hot topic in meat is really, I mean, not the hot topic, but the hot, target in meat is Wagyu. And everyone's looking for Wagyu beef. And it's really pretty much the same thing. It's just the cow living under different practices. We massage the cow. Like you said, there's no stressing in this cow. We're not milking this cow. We're catering to this cow. We're feeding it specific kinds of meat. We're giving it this type of food and doing these type of processes to keep it happy and healthy, and then when I sell it, it's pure grain marble. There's nothing wrong with the meat. Therefore, it goes for the highest rate. Have you ever thought about trying to get into the Wagyu process or anything like that?
So last year I dealt with a Liberty Farm. Well, I've dealt with a rancher that I deal with. There's an organization, 100 ranchers here in Texas. It's an African American ranching organization. And so one of the gentlemen there, he does a Angus Wagyu mix. Okay. And if you remember, my first breed was an Angus Hereford mix. So now I'll be able to bring more of that Angus influence into my cow, and then have the Wagyu influence. So the basic difference between Wagyu and American or British cows is the timing of fat formation, because fat is what gives the meat taste. So in this Japanese cow, Wagyu, Akushi, and Kobe, Wagyu, Akushi, and Kobe, they were built to graze on smaller land. So their breeding practices made it to where they form their muscle inside the meat first. Now, what we use in America, which is usually a British or an American breed, be it the Longhorn, the Angus, the Hereford, all those, they form their fat cap on the outside and then works into the muscle mass. So when they get fat, their muscle starts. So that's the first basis of Wagyu. The second, you got it, they cater to their cows. And then depending on the extent of which they cater to their cows is how they grade it out. So to answer your question, yes, I've added the Wagyu Angus bull to my herd in order to experiment with what type of meat I can get. And I haven't thought to go transition totally over to Wagyu, because I work in food deserts. Fifth Ward, Acres Home in Houston, and I do a farmer's market in Fourth Ward, which are food deserts. They're food deserts. They don't have a grocery store. Why don't they have a grocery store? Because they say people don't have the disposable income to use on this type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm working with this young lady, Sade. It's Freedmanstown Farmers Market in Houston. And we do food boxes. We do a butcher box, black butcher box that we do. And she does vegetable boxes, but she does a farmer's market. And so people are able to come there and buy. And so I wouldn't do Wagyu because I may get out of that price point. They already having trouble, purchasing it, making that that additional expense. So I don't want to get too far out of the price point who I really want to serve.
I guess I wasn't asking about the Wagyu cows per se itself. I guess I was asking far as the practices, far as the massage, the catering to the cow. Have you ever thought about trying to implement that with your cattle that you have already?
Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. But yes, I have, but not to that extent. My more is like I tell people I let the cow live the best life they can until they have that one bad day. And so things that I do is I do let them listen to music, more of the classical, because I got this from a guy that told me about a study how they played music to the flow of water and it changed the pattern of water. So I was like, well, let me try this with my livestock. If I play a calm music, will this relax them? So during the time that I'm putting out hay, giving them alfalfa, coming to observe them where I'll give them like alfalfa pellets, cubes, which is a legume and it's not a grain. So I try to do stuff like that. And I sit in there with them to where they're not stressed out when I come around, so I do more things to make both of our lives easy than just catering for this cow to where I can pay extra dollars for it. Mine is more of a caring about the cow more than me trying to make more money off of it.
Have you thought about the virtual reality set?
I was just about to ask that.
I think that was for milk, right?
Like, no, but what my very next question about to be like, have you heard about the virtual reality sets that people are experimenting with putting on their cows? I believe they're keeping them in the stalls, but they're putting on the virtual headsets to give them the experience like they're actually outside.
Man, I thought that was clickbait. So yeah, I see it. I see a lot of articles like that, and I just thought it was clickbait because I saw it and they had the cow with the goggles on there.
Yeah,
I did overlook it, but so I don't know, because it's not natural to me. I'm a naturalist, I don't really like artificial insemination. So I have seen it. I didn't read up on it, so I wouldn't be in.
I believe that was for milk.
Yeah,
too.
they weren't just doing it
milk
on a whim. They were doing it because where he was keeping his cattle, it gets cold. So obviously you have to keep the cows inside. And he would notice a drop within the quality of the milk. Versus when he gave them the virtual reality headset where they had the mindset of they're still outside and they're eating grass and everything like that. He saw an increase in the quality of his milk and everything like that. So yeah, like you said, it was for milk testing, but
people may take that, like just if people are seeing positive results, they may do that to keep their life easier. They don't have to come out and tend to the cow as much. Yeah. If they're in the stalls and I just got to put the virtual headset on, just give them whatever they got to get and leave them there. That's the job.
You might become lazy with it.
Yeah.
But what about chickens? Did you ever think about getting to having chickens?
No, because chickens, to be profitable in chickens, you have to be a lot bigger. And in Texas, it's a good business for people who want to do chickens. And Sanderson Farm helps you out with it and everything. There's a company that helps you out. My bad, I shouldn't say that. But they help you out with it and everything, with buying you the hoop houses. It takes up a lot of your land. You got to worry about getting away with this waste, getting rid of the waste, in which that's something that's beneficial to me. So I work with chickens, but don't want to do chickens.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's understandable. Do you, on top of obviously cattle and everything like that, do you get into the vegetables and the fruits or anything like that?
I try. I do personal gardens. The biggest I did was when I was down here, I said I was going to do this little acre spot. And I started running the tractor around it a couple of times and realized how much I was going to have to walk out there, weed and stuff. It became like 3 strips.
Understandable. So with your bundles and everything like that, what is your most what is your most profitable cut that you sell?
Tenderloin, and you got to understand supply and demand. A tenderloin is only about as long as your forearm from your wrist to your elbow. And that's where you go get the Del Frisco with the bacon wrapped around it, the small piece. So out of each cow, you'll have 2 of those. So you may get 8 to 10 of those cuts at 1.5 inches thick in what you get. So, and that's $20 a pound or so. And then you have a New York strip, which is part of the T-bone. That's about $16 to $18 a pound. So it just depends. But then, and they're usually like a quarter to a whole pound. So it's not really that $20. You may get, 15, 13, 12 of that, whatever, just depending on weight. So price wise, it would be the tenderloin. And it just, you could have a roast that weighs 3 pounds, the same price as that little bit of tenderloin.
Okay.
So if a food shortage happens, you good, basically.
Yes, but there's things that I have to look at. In order for them to meet this demand of this food shortage, they're starting to kill heifers. And heifers are usually what I look at as breeding to continue the supply chain. So if they start killing the heifers and steers, then how are you going to replenish what you're putting into the food system? So there has to be rules to this. I understand make money, but don't kill the plug.
Right.
The heifer is the plug. She's the one that's going to give you a calf every year. And then you take your chances. Either it's going to be a steer or it's going to be a cow, which can produce another cow. But they already took that out of there because they started doing AI. They can pick the sex of what that cow is going to have. So if they're going to do meat production, just take the heifers that you have and make sure you have steers off of them. You can do it if you want to augmentate the supply chain. Do it like that. Don't do it to where we're going to create our own food shortage of 2050, in which they say.
Facts. So with the augmentation, does the product still come out healthy to where it can be raised to give you good natural product?
Depending on who you talk to. I haven't really been able to get into that yet because I've been working on my inventory side. But that's part of the research. I've heard people say, I've heard older farmers that come out, they say they can tell me which one of the cows have been AI when I'd work for other people because of where the ear set on the head. So I mean that is, that's like
that's scary.
It's a mutation.
That's like
so how
cloning. That's like cloning, right?
Right.
They cloning cows.
Well, no, don't still. Let me tell you how. Okay, this is what it is.
Let me
slow you down.
Because I'm getting a little worried over it. So
no, this is what they do. This is what they do. And I mean, I don't do it because I'm a naturalist. So they take the bull, they give him a fake out to where he think he getting his he not. They catch it, they freeze it, and now they take it in. Instead of him having to take 3 weeks to inseminate all of them, we've lined up their estrus to where they're all going to be on at the breeding process at the same time. We got the bull. We're going to take him and have him service all 40 of these at one time instead of him having to go and service each one independently.
Yeah, but it has to be something to it because they say they can tell by
he can tell by a cow's ears.
So
hey, no, that's what, and that's what that's one farmer. Some people say, it ain't no difference.
That's a smart man. He been doing this for a while. He said, it ain't no regular cow right there.
Your cattle when you see it. That ain't normal right there.
Nah, I ain't never seen that like that before. Nah,
got some ears on
Yeah. The udders looking all crazy and whatnot.
I trust that man. That's who I trust. He looking out. So, wow. Oh, what my gosh. Because they did bees like that. I know it's out of your line of work, but they made some mechanical bees. You know what I mean? And they did the same thing for Bill Gates did the same thing for mosquitoes out there in Florida like 2 years ago. I think like 750 million of them. So that's the reason why I'm a little worried about I wanted to dig down deeper.
I mean, they growing steak in petri dishes nowadays. So
and now see, I have a real problem with impossible meat.
Oh yeah.
How much did you have to do with that vegetable to make it look like a piece of meat?
Okay, so this is where I wanted to go with you. So I did want to ask you about that. So not impossible meats per se, but I have seen a lot of meat substitutions or something like that, where it's basically they're taking chickpeas, walnuts and stuff like that, grinding them up, adding seasoning, then cooking it, and they basically made their own ground beef or taco or their own chorizo meat or something like that. The impossible meats, I'm with you on that. I've tried a pack of impossible ground beef and I couldn't do it. It looked weird when you cook it. And it definitely tastes weird, no matter what the seasoning is or the flavor.
Like tofu too,
you can try, pretty much like tofu.
Watch, they're gonna pass some laws where you can't take.
But he won't let him elaborate on his.
My initial point is though, what are the hardships of joining or starting in this industry? Because I assume it sounds like it's very expensive.
And is that meat good for you? And is that meat good for you?
So yes, okay. So tell you about the health benefit. Yeah, first of all, yes, you have to have money. And I may have jumped out there before I was fully fine. I thought I was grown, you know what I'm saying? But then when you losing cows to getting sick and you just pay $850 for it and they just go out in the pasture and die, you know, and you expected to make money off of this.
Right.
When you make a bad deal, you start out on one business plan, and like I kind of changed my business philosophy. I went from wanting to breed to saying, okay, I need to buy more weaned calves. So now I took a lot of those heifers, in which 4 years later, they would have produced me 2 cows, but I wanted to make sure I could supply my customers. So those are things that I started selling heifers to buy more steers, because I wanted to process steers, because there's no, a bull can service 25 cows. So you don't need that many bulls. So most of your bull calves, you can castrate and make them steers, in which now that takes the testosterone out of there, out of the flavor of the meat, but they gain meat faster. It's kind of like how you do dogs. If you neuter a dog at a young age, he becomes a larger frame dog, because all that protein goes into muscle mass. So that's why you do that.
So being a farmer, since you outside a lot, have you seen any UFOs or anything in the sky that you didn't recognize?
You never came outside one of your one of your cows was hanging, upside down.
You ever?
And I gotta say, even from a young age, I spent a lot of time out in the woods. We go. What's a political way? Politically correct way to say this. We go raccoon hunting.
Okay.
And so we're outside at night with just dogs, and a lot of that time is you sitting around looking at the stars and just chilling, waiting to hear them dogs tell you where your next raccoon is. I haven't seen a cow floating above the air. I've never ran into crop circles. Nobody's ever came down and hollered at me and told me the secrets to the universe.
No UFOs, no spaceships.
None of it. I haven't. No, I haven't. None of that.
So with the raccoon, is raccoon meat healthy for you? Good for you?
It is a country delicacy. I'll put it like that. It's
better
natural.
than chicken? Is it better than chicken as far as
don't eat the raccoon that's running through your city block.
Okay.
Any meat, I'm gonna tell you this, the secret to answer your question, any meat protein is good for you because of what it consumes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pork is even good for you if it's eaten right. In the USDA, they tried to regulate that. We kind of hit up on it earlier. You said they feed pigs anything. Yes, we used to feed slop. It used to be people come to your elementary school and pick up what you didn't eat and feed it to their pigs.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted you to warm it up, and then they said you got to go straight grain. And when straight grain came, they can do additives to it, and that's kind of what makes it unhealthy. Truthfully, I used to eat corn-based pigs back here in the backyard where I am. My granddaddy used to do it, and we would dress it down right back here. He fed them out, dress it down. We'd have it for a family reunion. We have a special barbecue pit. We don't do it underground like everybody does. It's above ground. The pit like 3 feet high, 6 feet wide. And we just dress it down, put the whole hog on there, cook it overnight, sit around, lie to each other, and eat it the next day at the family reunion or whatever. So pork, to say that, it's what the animal consumes and how it consumes it, and the conditions it consumes it in is what makes the meat healthy for you. So the better the animal is treated, the better the product is.
Now, with knowing that, has the industry clamped down far as the better foods or the better situations to put your cattle in, far as like I said, the foods, maybe some of the equipment that it takes to probably put your cows in better situation? Have they clamped down and probably raised the prices on some of those equipments and some of that food?
Well, like I said earlier, agriculture is a commodity. So yes, it's a lot of things, like because of the way everything else is going, agriculture will go. right now, there are regulations in place to where you're supposed to raise a healthy and humane animal, but then there are regulations in place in order to keep our political system running in a proper manner.
Right.
So you take that for what you take it for.
Right.
You ever had do people try to like steal your animals or steal people's property off the land? You know.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a whole thing. Like I'm a part of another organization, along with the 100 Ranchers. I'm also part of the Texas Southwest Cattle Raisers Association, and in Texas, on the books legally, cattle wrestling is still a hanging offense.
Mm.
So it's like, so yes, you do get people caught, and the organizations that some of the organizations, they have ways for you to like if something happens, you report it, and then they put a mass publication out at auction houses, at other ranchers. And so if they see your cow, this is the herd size, and they do as much as you can, but I don't want to say all cows look alike, but it's real hard to differentiate. That's why you put the ear tags in there, to where you can actually identify a cow. So if somebody get your cow that is before you've tagged them, and you lost. I've taken laws like that. My cows got out, didn't have a tag. 2 of them, 850 times 2.
Oh. So you come.
You ain't got no dog like that.
So let's just say if you coming outside one day and you see somebody open the gates to get your cow off the land, what are you doing?
I mean, it's what I have the right to do, and then
I ain't letting that cow go. It's 850. I need my cow. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah, it's just what I'm within my rights to do.
Hey, what impact has music had on your life?
Man, let's not even get into that. In college, I dealt with a small record label here in Houston. We were similar to like during the time of DJ Screw. So we did a student shop. A lot of our talent was from Prairie View. And I was just we were kind of reminiscing today, the hog guys hunting. I was their road manager. And so like I would set up the transportation for us to go to the different shows. The talent were PV students and it got to the point to where we had like some students coming to PV just to get down with Bellway Records. We went to the Kappa Beach Party every year. We had like a beachfront room in the Victorian Hotel. We sold CDs off the balcony, you know what I'm saying? So music has influenced my life because I was part of it for a short while when Houston rap was really picking up. So like I've met Lil Flip and his uncle at their house in South Park, in South Park and Cloverland or Fairgreen. It's all in the same area. I've had Den, a lot of the Houston rappers came to the Bellway house and recorded in the garage that we turned into a studio. 2 of the rappers and the owner and me, we stayed in the same house. I was in school still, working on a grad degree, went into grad school. We had like another young lady that we knew from our freshman year, me and the guy that owned it. She stayed with us. So she was like the house mom, kind of kept us from wilding out, too much until she had to go home because she was also a college student, so it was just, I lived the music, for a little bit. I got a taste of it on a small scale, you know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I listen to music. My main influences are, of course, Third Coast, Houston. I like West Coast. I like West Coast, Louisiana, ATL, and then I'm into East Coast. A lot of people, palm people, like when we talk about hip hop and they Wu-Tang. I got into Wu-Tang late in life, and I didn't catch up on their whole, album, their whole collection. So, you can reference Wu-Tang, and if I might not know it, but music, it was important. It does a lot. Like I said, I let my cows listen to classical music. So yeah, music is a part.
That's good.
Hey,
great talking with you, man.
Yes, and before we get out of here, I just want to say like we will be hitting you up to get an order, and not only that, but like I know you mentioned earlier about a young lady that you're partnering with as far as like we want fruits and vegetables too. You know, we want to come down and get the whole you dig. So we come down to Texas, you know,
we grocery shopping.
We grocery shopping. We need you to show us around. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about in the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'll be ready. You know, we'll start out. We'll go out there to the farm, look at that, maybe look at some proteins that y'all can get. We'll deal with Fourth Ward, the Freemanstown Farmers Market. Also, we have a Black-owned grocery store here that I'm in, District 19 Green Grocers. So, and he's been on the different news things and stuff. He was on Ellen, you know, and so it's a Black-owned grocery store. A lot of the products in there are Black-owned, and so. Another opportunity for y'all to help the Black economic dollar.
100%, man.
How long I've been looking for a Black-owned grocery store, sir. Man. The price of groceries nowadays, I would rather spend that kind of money in somewhere that I know is going to flush back out and try to help the community. Like, it's high right now.
For sure. Like,
gotta hold our dollar,
man.
No, for sure. And that's what I say. Like, man, I am really gracious, like, of your time. You just don't know. Absolutely. Like, a lot of people do not know how to. Black people do not know how to survive off the land, live off the land. We don't have any economic flow. And that's why, like, well, Marcus Garvey, he was one of the very first people who realized that, you know, with African Americans, with Black people, we have no economic flow. And from that, we will never, regardless of how much money you get, how much money touch your hand, but you will never prosper. You will never have ownership. You will never have contribute to the business class without some economic flow, because we really don't own anything that's major. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I thank you for
especially when you depend on your enemy.
Yeah. I thank you for contributing your time, you know, your knowledge, and we're honest with you when we say, like, we're definitely we want to shop with you. We shop with you. We want you to take us to the farmers, but wherever we got to go, like, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to keep in touch, and again, keep doing what you're doing. We know it's hard. You're doing something that a lot of people that I haven't been around have been in the business of. You're the first person that I've talked to that went through livestock. Cows have died. I got to figure out how I'm going to get a new cow now. Bro, you know what I mean? Like, that's different. That's different.
You need people.
And it's a lot. It's something that the younger generation, a lot of them don't know about, but they need to know about, and they need to be engaged and get into, because it's something that I believe is beneficial to all, especially when we're talking about health. And like you said,
you're more valuable than a rapper.
Absolutely.
You hear me?
Absolutely. You're more valuable than a rapper, athlete, and a few others. Okay.
100%.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, what you doing, man? It's what you do personally is, you know, it's outstanding, and more than anything, it's a major benefit to everyone in the world, not just, you know, black, white, or anything like that, just humans in general. And then, you know, I'm pretty sure you're innovative, and you probably, you know, try to work on your own practices and things like that. Like you said, playing your classical music.
And you got a degree.
Like that,
you got a degree,
Yeah.
I mean, well, you know about agriculture, you know, hey, feed it this because it can do this health wise. Some people probably like, man, let's just get some weeds or whatever. Yeah. Like, I can't afford it. But you know what I mean?
That's why I said, you know, that's
just
why.
Say, man, F that. Let me smoke this weed. Let me pop these pills and just chill.
Or somebody might get a bag of chips. I get a cow and there it is. You know,
let's get some Roman noodles for 25 cents, not knowing you're destroying your body.
Yeah, you know, and that's what they sell at the corner store. Roman noodles, candy, you know.
Killing you.
Yeah, it's an issue. But hey, I do appreciate you all. You know what I'm saying, man? What y'all doing, like, kind of inspirational to me, saying I must be doing something right. Y'all done picked up on it. And, you know, so it's like, man, okay, I just need to keep, you know what I'm saying? This is also, as big as this is, I have to keep it in perspective to myself and keep myself humble and keep doing this to where more, and you won't have lied to your customers. You know, your people listen to you. You know, if I give big shop, I start putting out a bad product, you know what I'm saying? It reflects on us all. So now I take on a burden of taking care of you all's reputation as well. So I thank y'all.
Yeah, well, we thank you too,
we get that meat, man. We're gonna do some coverage.
Yeah, we want. Yes.
Look us up.
Yes.
We TikTok videos left and right.
We coming out.
Before we go, I gotta ask one question. Do you believe in Jesus?
I do.
Okay, you're a follower.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, see, and okay, so dang, don't start me on that, dude. Because no, I'm not a follower. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand, like, I went to a school, high school, that kind of prepared me for life. And you have to be a person that can understand what your role is. You know what I'm saying? It's not about following what somebody tell you. It's about being in line with your higher being, I'll say, and understanding what they have given to you to do and accomplish that mission. You know,
Right.
so
When I said you believe,
kind of offensive to me, and I apologize, but yeah.
When I said you believe, you said yeah.
Right, but I don't the following aspect. You know what I'm saying?
Following is in a sense of faith, not in the sense of walking behind. You know what I mean? Because I mean, apparently he's not. You know, he's not nowhere.
Right. No. But and see, that's the deal, and that's why I didn't want to, because I go a little deeper than that.
No. We I mean,
He's talking. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm on what you're saying. I believe in what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. But just personally, it goes like a little more with me.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like,
Like
That's
more,
not
yeah.
where
Well,
mine stops. Yeah.
Like, what do
That's
you
not
mean
where
more? Oh, it's not where your mind stops. Okay, so where does your mind travel?
That's where my understanding of being a follower, it does not stop at that point.
Gotcha.
That's my mind. I guess is a conundrum. Yes, my mind as well. So yeah.
I mean, you know,
you said,
just
hold on. You
follow
said
the
it
rules.
does
Dave,
not.
hold on.
I'm trying to figure out. It does not stop. Like, what do you mean by that? It does not stop there.
Everybody has their own interpretations, and that's what I'm saying. Just like that, my interpretation may be different than yours, and that's why it's mine. And some things that you just don't like, you don't argue about. I believe and I follow. And so
do you believe?
it's not.
Okay. Do you believe the Bible is the Word of God?
Yes, and my thing is that, but it's just my personal relationship, sir. That's all.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you can have your personal relationship.
I mean, but see, you're trying to understand what it's like. It's hard for other people to understand my experience, life experiences, because you see, is you haven't lived my life. So like your feelings and what your belief is, may they just be an inkling off of what mine is. And just human nature, that's a problem, because it's but yes, I do believe. Yes, I do believe.
Look, this is like if you want to
yes,
make
the Bible is yes.
It's
I'm
like,
sorry.
but you believe.
See,
Go ahead.
and just to kind of to show you a part of my childhood, I was part of Christian church, and I was a youth leader, the highest level of youth leader.
Okay.
But at that level, to where I got a full ride to college, my mother and father fell out, and it happened in front of the church. So I lost those opportunities. So I had a whole different experience on what my faith is to be in order for me to survive this life. It's not the traditional two kids, mom and dad together going to church, but I had to go through those trials and tribulations to get where I am now.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me to explain you my belief in everything, it's just outside of the realm of what I do. I've told you what it is, and that's just kind of what I am.
Right. You're saying it's not the traditional go to church. That's what you mean. Right.
Because my animals get sick on Sunday, I miss church. Am I a bad Christian?
Right. No. It's when two or more people come together, I'm in your presence. So you can have church. I mean, just with two people, you can just pray or whatever together. So,
and I walk around the parking lot picking up pennies saying, "Thank you, God."
Hey,
thank you, Lord.
And you can say thank you, God, for that.
I pick up them pennies because eventually you're gonna add to 850 and I can buy me another cow.
100%. 100%. I mean, so like basically you're still following God, and you believe the Bible is the Word of God. So there's no difference in our faith or belief system. So, that's what I was basically saying. Like when I asked were you a follower, you said no, not in the way.
I didn't say no. Did I say? I said, well, yeah, I did say I'm not a follower.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you are still, just because you don't go to church on some days, that don't mean you're not a follower of Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? You just believe the Word is God. I mean, the Bible is the Word of God. And when two more come together, you're in His presence. You don't have to go to a building. That's just a building with the temple, like you already know.
Yeah, if you want to get more serious about it, like you just said, more than two people, this whole conversation we just had could be considered church in His eyes. And
well, people needed to see this, though. 100%. The whole conversation. It's dope.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt.
And he wasn't like coming down, just asking like what your beliefs in, and this actually, is stuff that people don't want to talk about, don't want to touch on. You know what I mean? But it doesn't hurt to say like what you what you believe in,
Yeah.
and people, we can talk. We don't have to argue or debate. It's like, oh, okay, we just have a conversation. You know what I mean?
Well,
Nobody.
I got you. I don't know. And like I say, it's like just a real personal thing with me. And I don't. Politics, religion, and
I guess did you think he was
don't-
saying like, oh, you have to go to church to be a follower?
No, I just didn't want him to feel that I was an atheist because my system of belief may be different than his. That's all. I just don't want like my spirituality question. That's all. That's all it was.
Gotcha.
I mean, yeah, I couldn't question your spirituality because I don't, like I said, I don't know you. So that's why I was just gonna act like a point blank question. Do you believe in Jesus?
Right. And like isn't and I apologize for coming off racist.
Nah,
you was too many steps ahead of me. That's what you.
I am from South Dallas,
Yes, sir.
Nah, man. We appreciate you coming out, man. Like Myra said, we'll be out there hopefully soon to try and come and get some of these meat packages,
vegetables, fruit,
all sorts of groceries, and everything like that. Keep the faith, keep doing what you do, man. You're doing a beautiful thing and by helping the community and giving us faith.
And we appreciate you.
Have a blessed day, bro.
I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. I do appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Likewise, sir. You take it easy, man.
All right, take care now.